Welcome back to the shooting channel, and today we're going to go through how to pick a game gun. So if you're thinking of taking up game shooting for your first time, or you've started clay shooting and you think I'm going to shoot my first game day, I've got a couple of little tips. I've got 3 guns that I wanted to go through with you that are very different guns. Generally, when you're shooting game, a lot of people prefer to have a lighter gun than a heavier gun. Now, I know that goes slightly against people's ways. I actually myself, I shoot my XS Browning on game shoot as well, because I like a nice heavy gun. If you don't shoot a lot of game, a weight of that game gun does slow you down. Because when you're shooting clays, when you're shooting a serious out competition, you want a heavy clay gun to steady you up, so you don't throw the gun all over the sky. But when you're shooting game, and you're walking across the fields, you don't want a big heavy clay gun. You want something that looks nice, that's traditional, slightly lighter, that can still shoot as well, but you're not throwing it all over the sky. So I've got 3 guns. I've got the Browning 525 game gun, which is probably my cheapest gun here, under £2,000. I've got the Blaser F16 game gun. This particular gun is 32 inch. And I've got a EELL game gun. This particular one is side plated. So this looks very traditional, hand engraved or hand finished. And they're all about £6 to £7. And the biggest thing I would say that you need to be looking at is, again, when you want to buy your game gun, you want to find your local shooting school and go and try 3 or 4. The biggest thing that people say to me is about stock length. Now, stock length, you can actually get away with a gun that's too long or too short for you. The thing that you cannot get away with is this height in the comb. Depending how tall you are, if you're short, got no neck and big here, you want a shorter comb. Something like a Beretta or an Italian gun. So if I mount that gun there, so if I mount the gun into the camera, I'm mounting my gun there, my eye is behind here. But if I was shorter, that would fit me slightly better. Then I've got the Browning, which has obviously got the highest comb. Like that. Same weight, same stock length, but just slightly higher in the comb. I've then got the Blaser F16, which actually is slightly heavier than both the Beretta and the Browning in the game version. This particular one is a 32 inch. Now, some people do like a game gun in a 32 inch because you're kind of a happy balance. It's not a big heavy clay gun, but it slows the gun down. Personally, I would stick to 30 inch, but some people might like that. A 32 inch game gun, when you're shooting big tall birds off the top of these trees, it just slows you down. So that is a very different gun too. I'm just going to go and shoot a few, and I'm going to see basically what the guns shoot like. So the Browning I've got is a box lock engraving, basic. The Beretta is a side lock. Now this is a EELL side lock. Again, if you look at the safety caps, a lot of game guns have the safety caps that comes off every time you close it. Now that's a very old traditional way, and a lot of people do tend to have that changed so it doesn't come off. Because again, I think the most important thing is you close that gun in a safe zone. But again, if you're older traditional, you may like the safety that comes off all the time. So again, the Brownings and generally the modern Berettas don't do that, they stay on all the time. And then the Blaser, again, is you don't have to touch the safety at all, or manual safety, don't have to touch it at all. So that is kind of how you do it. The other thing that you'll get with a game gun is generally a game gun is not ventilated barrels, because you're not shooting as much, and generally the barrels don't need to cool down, so it's not that ventilated barrels. So that is generally what the guns are. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a few, and then I'm going to talk to you about the handling of the guns. So I'm just going to shoot a couple of basic driven targets and then I'm going to talk to you about it. Pull. 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 So that is the Browning game gun. Now my biggest thing with this is it's quite, like anything, it's quite a chunky gun, but it's still fairly light, so you can walk about with it in the game field. And the other thing it's got is the pistol grips are big on the Brownings, on the game guns. So again, if you've got big hands, that tends to fit your hand in there. When you mount that gun, you've got the height in the comb and you've got the big pistol grips there. Now I'm going to shoot the Beretta EELL. Pull. 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 So that is the Beretta EELL. The biggest thing I find with this is the pistol grip is smaller and it's a little bit more delicate. So when you're holding that gun, slightly more delicate. It is lighter. If the Beretta kicks a little bit more than the Browning, does shoot well, really well, does look nice, look the part, slightly lighter. If you're going partridge shooting and you want a nice little partridge gun, absolutely spot on for that. But this is what you go to your local shooting school and this is what you find out. And this is where you'll find out whether the gun fits you, how that gun handles for what you're shooting. And then I've got the Blaser 32-inch F16. Pull. 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 Now again, to me, that actually handles, out of these three, the best, because you've got the lightness of the gun, you've got the 32-inch, it's still light, but the handability just brings it back a little bit. So again, I wouldn't have said that without shooting these. So that is the difference, and that is how you pick a game gun. So if you fancy a game gun, if you fancy a new game gun, book yourself in to your local shooting school for a session, go out with 3 or 4 different guns and see, with the instructors, see which one fits you and you handle the best. Don't just go for the lightest gun because it's game. Have a look and see what is better. Again, I'd probably pick this because I do like the 32-inch in the F16, but then I would almost pick the Browning as well because the weight of the gun. But if you were a lot smaller, then you potentially might pick the EELL as well. So that is kind of how I would pick a game gun for what I want to shoot with. And that is the difference between the Browning 525 game gun, the Beretta EELL, and the Blaser F16. So there's 3 game guns, and they're all 3 different. They're all 3 good guns. I killed stuff with them all, but they all handle slightly differently. So if you are looking for a game gun, find your local shooting school and go and ask the experts and go and shoot 3 or 4 different guns and see what comes up and what is the best for the job you want the gun to do. I hope you've enjoyed this program. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us give you content like this. And if you're looking for a game gun, comment below and we'll do our best to help you and push you in the right direction. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.